Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, my name is Leah and most of my videos are focused on unsolved crimes and mysteries. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about Donald Trump and the latest updates. But before we start today's video, I want to send my deepest condolences to Corey, the firefighter's family. I can't even imagine what they're going through. Corey, the firefighter, he lost his life at the rally protecting his family. As far as I understand, he was leaning over his family to keep them safe, and that's when he got shot and lost his life. It is... I don't even have words. It's so horrible and it's so scary, and I am so sorry for your loss.
Corey, unfortunately, we have to use the past tense. He was incredible. He was a highly respected former fire chief, respected by everybody. He was accompanied by his wife, Helen, incredible woman I spoke to today, devastated, and two precious daughters. He lost his life selflessly acting as a human shield to protect them from flying bullets. He went right over the top of them and was hit. What a fine man he was.
And for those people who got hurt at the rally, I pray that you will have a speedy recovery. So we're going to be talking about the latest updates in the Trump case. Forensics might have evidence that there's a third shooter. And they say that they have evidence of weapon A and weapon B. Weapon A belongs to Thomas Matthew Crooks, and weapon B belongs to Secret Service, but they might have evidence of a weapon C. So that means we might be talking about a third shooter that's still out there. That is just terrifying.
Yeah, look, there he is.
Because we have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people. Criminals. We have criminals.
He's on the roof. He's on.
We have people that should not be here.
Right on the roof.
It's much tougher
He's
than
up now.
it happens.
He went right on the roof with that.
Up here.
A bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
with Holly.
In my prior video, one of my subscribers informed me that there's a man seen on top of the Butler water tower. And I looked it up online and I found the video and I want to share it with you. It looks like it was an inside job because there's a lot of things that doesn't make sense. Crook's parents, they're social workers. They are trained to read other people's behavior. And they didn't notice or pay attention to Crook's receiving a lot of packages at their house. It was small packages, big packages. They didn't ask any questions. He was able to build explosives in his room without his parents' knowledge. How is that possible? I don't understand that. And then the investigators, they came out and said that the only social media thing they found on his phone was Discord. But after they looked through it, they said there was nothing to be found, nothing useful. And I'm like, you're 20 years old and you don't have social media. That's kind of weird. But again, some people, they actually don't have social media. But you can't help wonder, did he have social media before? And he deleted everything before the rally? We don't know. But he decided to be on Discord. So who could he have been communicating with on Discord? We don't know. But they also said that they found explosives in his car. His push bike was found there, loaded with bags, and only God knows what's in those bags. And they insist that he's the only shooter. And I'm just thinking, why would a shooter bring a car and a push bike? It doesn't make sense to me. Why would he need both? So he drives his car to the rally and then unloads his bike and then rides his bike to the building. Does it make sense to you? Because it doesn't make sense to me at all. Which brings me to my next point. They said they found a receipt in the car for a letter that he bought at Home Depot. They said the letter was 5 feet tall, which doesn't make any sense at all, because if it was only 5 feet tall, that building would have been very, very low. So if you count the steps on the ladder, I would say this is a 10 feet ladder and not a 5 feet ladder. So they're lying about that. The question is why? Why? And if he actually bought that ladder, he would need to bring it in his car, which means that his trunk would have been open, and nobody noticed that at all. Nobody noticed him walking through the area with a ladder over his shoulder. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. When Trump gets hit by that bullet on the top of his ear, Secret Service, they storm the stage, surrounds Trump to keep him safe. They take him off stage to his car. But notice this guy in military clothes, a security guy, he's talking with someone on his earpiece. And I don't know what he's saying. Not at all. But he's pointing his gun at Trump inside his car and approaches the car, but then he pulls back. What the heck is going on?
Okay, so I'm going to try to explain in detail where I was in front of Trump and what happened to the left of Trump, which would have been to the right of me. First and foremost, let me show you how close I was to put it in perspective. So with Trump facing me, I was to his left, but I was pretty close up there. Now let me show you the bleachers to the left of Trump, but to the right of me. Okay, so there's the bleachers to the left of Trump right there, which was to the right of me. The unaliving happened to the bleachers on the far right side of Trump. I'm over on the far right, or far left of Trump. These are the same bleachers. Watch the top left. These are the same exact bleachers. These are to the left of Trump. Those shots came from the back. Now watch it in slow motion. They came from the back. Those bullets came from the back left of Trump. Now let me show you what happened after those shots were fired. That was on the left side of Trump, where people are saying that shots were fired from behind the bleachers, and you can clearly see them, like, telling Secret Service, it's from over there, it came from over there, and you can see people looking from behind the bleachers. This timeline of events that I just showed you all came from the left of Trump on my side. I don't know what happened on Corey's side. I don't, and I'm so sorry for what happened to him, but he is not the man that I saw. He's not. Something happened on the left side of the event. And I'm tired of people gaslighting me. I'm tired of people telling me that I was in a panic and I can't think clearly and I have no idea what I remember. I do. I'm a mother. I had to be super aware of my surroundings. The first shot was farther away, which would have been to the right of Trump because I was on the far left. The second shot sounded a whole lot closer, and that's when I was like, oh my gosh, people are shooting everywhere. I have to get these kids on the ground. Stop telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about. Those two men were shot from behind the left side of the bleachers, to the left of Trump. I promise you that. And you can hear people saying that the shooter's over there, the shooter's over there. Probably not the only shooter. I am not saying that there was not a guy on the roof to the right of Trump, because there was. But there was also another. Be for real. Be so for real. You guys cannot take snippets of news and think that they're telling you the whole truth. They haven't all this time. Why? Like, they're not going to start now. There was more than one shooter there that day. I promise you.
I think it's terrifying. And then when the director of Secret Service is confronted with this whole event and the lack of security, her excuse is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Listen to this.
A lot of questions, not least of which, how was it that a rooftop with a clear line of sight to where Donald Trump was speaking just 120 metres away was left completely unattended? Well, Agent Snowflake, also known as the Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheetle, went on the ABC to explain it was all a matter of workplace health and safety.
Should that roof have been secure, period?
That building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point. And so, there's a safety factor that would be considered there, that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof. And so, the decision was made to secure the building from inside.
You have got to be kidding me. They couldn't put agents on the roof because it was sloped. My driveway has a bigger slope than that roof. And it's funny how, the Secret Service agents had no trouble navigating that dangerous slope when they were on the roof after the gunman had shot Donald Trump in the side of the head. There they are on that dangerous roof called workplace health and safety.
Basically a cliff.
Basically, it's also funny how the Secret Service agents, when they were poised behind Donald Trump during his speech, were on a sloped roof. Have a look at this vision. Here's the Secret Service agents, the snipers, behind Donald Trump while he's speaking. That looks to me, Caleb, and this like a
Very slopey.
How could that
That has got to be at least a 5-degree slope right there.
call HR.
I'm surprised.
Unbelievable. Can you imagine them being asked to do this? That your mission, if you choose to accept it, and they're like, excuse me, did you just say there's a slope involved?
I think what it is, these are the only two agents who passed the sloped roof physical training test,
Well,
and were therefore certified to be on that
of
roof.
the
This is the problem, and we know the Secret Service did such a terrible job. Clearly, they've unionised, right? And so they got their union rep to call up Cheetle and say, look, we're not going up on any sloped roofs, miss. We're not going to do it. And I love that she says, oh, look, it was really about safety. We had to worry about the safety of our officers. What about the safety of President Trump not being shot in the ear because you were too worried about the safety of your own officers, whose job, by the way, is to, if they have to, take a bullet, offer their lives for the protection of presidents and former presidents.
Look, it's one thing to take a bullet, it's another thing to sprain an ankle, Caleb. And we should point out that Secret Service agents and government snipers have no problem guarding the White House, where Joe Biden, incidentally, resides. Have a look at this image.
Check out the slope.
Look at the slope on that thing.
That guy is basically, he's what is it, hang gliding at this point. What's the one where you literally...
He's free falling, basically, yes.
Absolutely.
That should not be allowed.
He should have wings.
That should not be allowed, but we shouldn't talk about it too much because they might actually go and now flatten all the roofs on the White House and turn it into an architectural nightmare.
Can you believe this Kimberly Cheetle, though? I mean, she oversees the biggest stuff up in probably our lifetime, refuses to quit, and then trots out such ridiculous excuses as, well, it was all about workplace health.
I know, it is utterly ridiculous. And again, it opens up this question about whether or not it was a quote-unquote inside job.
I don't think it's a question anymore, my
friend. Of what was going to happen. Because, I mean, look, to sit there with a straight face and say we couldn't send anyone up on that roof because it had a slope on it. Meanwhile, they were on the other roof over the other side that did have a slope on it. We just left the one roof available that would give someone a direct line of sight to the president that was behind the crowd so that the crowd couldn't see that he was there. It all just sounds too perfect, right? And Republican representative for Florida, Corey Mills, who himself is a former sniper, has been raising exactly this question. He has it in the back of his head that perhaps there was something deliberate going on here, but he's a bit scared to raise it.
I have a very difficult time not leaning myself towards this was intentional as opposed to fecklessness.
Wait, talk to me about that. I actually heard you say this right the day after, which I wanted to ask you about. What do you mean intentional?
You know,
I mean an intentional failure on the part of...
No, I wouldn't say an intentional failure on the part of, but I gotta just, I sit here and I scratch my head, and you don't want to be the conspiracist, you don't want to be the person.
I'm telling you, because that's what it's leaning toward.
No, I know, and that's the issue, is that you walk this fine balance of, you're not trying to be a conspiracist, but you look at it and you go, how could this have gone so...
But it's one thing if someone on the street says it. It's not, I mean, you, Corey Mills, member of Congress, former sniper, you saying it, I mean, it makes my eyebrows go up.
I didn't actually see her eyebrows go up in that clip, to be perfectly honest. Maybe she's had Botox. But she says right at the end, she lets the game away, a former sniper. I mean, when a former sniper is asking those questions, maybe we should pay a little bit of attention.
Yeah, he said he's done thousands of advanced teams. He's done thousands of these. He's the counter sniper. He said he's done it thousands of times himself. So this guy knows what he's talking about. And the prevailing question is, so we knew that the cops knew he was there. One of them even talked to him. We knew that the Secret Service had been alerted by the cops that they were there. And this sniper was well within their scope. They knew he was there too. Nothing was done to neutralize the threat. You'd think the least you could do in that situation is get Donald Trump off stage. You know that this guy's an imminent threat. You know where he is. He's got a direct line of sight. He is in perfect position, and he has a rifle with a scope attached. So you know what he's there to do. The very least you can do is not leave the president a sitting duck on the stage. And that is what they did.
When you look at all the security at the rally, you have FBI, you have the police, you have Secret Service. I don't know how many agencies were there. But I'm just wondering about something, and I'm not creating a conspiracy theory at all. I'm just trying to find out what's going on. And I'm thinking, when all this security, they arrive, do they have to sign in somewhere? Do they have to show their ID? Do they have to do something before they start the day? I don't know, because they're going to be working very close with the former president. So to me, it would be natural that they would be checked from top to bottom and show their badge or their ID, or do you know what I mean? Because they're going to be very, very close to the former president. And if they're not checked from top to bottom, showing ID, confirming who they are, maybe they have a list of names that's supposed to be there. I don't know. Please let me know in the comment section if you know, because I don't know. But I'm just thinking, if cars arrive with security, if they just approach the security that's already there, and they say, we are from this and this company, we are going to stay here and watch everything that's going on, and they just say okay and let them work. Is it possible that someone could arrive there looking like security? I don't know. I think I'm gonna agree with everyone else that this is an inside job. It seems like it's an inside job because all the things I heard about Secret Service, they are top professionals. They have done these jobs a million times. Why are they being so sloppy keeping the former president safe? It doesn't make sense at all. And then I'm also wondering about that police officer that climbed to the roof and saw crooks on the roof, and he got threatened by him. So he had to let go of the roof and he fell down. Why is there no video of this police officer climbing up to confront Crooks. We saw a lot of different videos of Crooks on the roof, laying down on his stomach and taking position, looking at Trump. But I didn't see one single video of a police officer climbing up on the roof, confronting Crooks or anything like that. Maybe we just missed it. Maybe people didn't see it. I'm assuming that he must have used the ladder like Crooks did. And that would mean that he would come up the ladder on the roof and he would see Crooks from behind. So if Crooks threatened him with the pow pow, that would mean that he would have to pick up his pow pow. That's what people call them now. He would have to get out of position, turn around facing the officer and threaten him. And then the officer let go and fell down because obviously he didn't want to get hit by anything. And then they say that a few seconds after this happened, that's when Trump got hit on the top of his ear. And I can't help thinking that Crooks is in position. He's on the roof, he's got his target locked in, and he's ready. But then he interrupts everything and turns around to threaten the police officer. So that would mean that he would lift the pow pow, turn around, threaten the police officer, and then he would go back, lay back down on his stomach, go into position again, find his target again, the right, the right angle. How can that take a few seconds? It just doesn't make sense. But maybe, just maybe, Crooks was a decoy for the real shooter. Because, as I mentioned earlier, someone saw a man on top of the Butler water tower. There's a few people actually that mentioned it in an interview. And one of the interviews, the reporter actually completely dismisses what the woman is saying. She just cuts it off, turn and finish her interview. Like she don't want to acknowledge the fact that there's a man on top of the Butler water tower. It's all very strange. So with that being said, we just have to wait for more updates. It must also have been a huge shock to Donald Trump. A huge shock. And I'm thinking, in my personal opinion, if there really is a third person out there that hasn't been identified yet, if I was the security, I would keep Trump off stage until the investigation is finished and they find out who this guy is. Because if I was Trump, knowing that there was another guy out there that hadn't been caught yet, I would be fearing for my life every time I walked on that stage. It must be terrifying. And if you like Trump or you don't like Trump, can you just imagine that every time you stick your head out in public, you will have that event in the back of your mind? Is it going to happen now? Is it going to happen again? Is that guy here? You know what I mean? You would get completely paranoid. Because, yeah, he is surrounded by security, but he was also surrounded by security that day that didn't do their job. I don't know. I hope they will manage to keep Trump safe. I really do. Because no matter if you like Trump or not, he is the former president and he is running for president again. And he's human. Human. Nobody deserves this. They really don't. So I hope that he will have a speedy recovery and will be able to move past this. And I really, really hope and pray that they're gonna find out who the third person is before it's too late. I know that he probably won't, but I would say stay off the stage until they find the third person, because otherwise it's not safe. Every time he steps on that stage or everywhere he walks in public, he won't be safe until that third person is found. Some people might say, what is he supposed to do? Lock himself in a room? Yeah, because there's a lot of agencies and law enforcement working on finding out who this guy is. And until they find him, he needs to be safe. And if that is to lock him in a room and say, stay there until we find this guy, to keep him safe, then that's what you have to do, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe I sound ridiculous, but I just want everyone to be safe. I think enough people have been hurt. And I think what happened to that firefighter is absolutely heartbreaking, and I don't even have words. I think it's horrifying. Really, really horrifying. Like I said earlier, to all those people who got hurt and to the people who's traumatized by this, I really hope you're going to have a speedy recovery and you will be able to move past this. So that's it for today's video. I want to thank you for watching, and we just have to wait for further updates. So until the next one, please take care and stay safe. Bye.